The Lunaverse, Episode 13 by Rainbow Double Dash, Carrot Top Season by Grass and Clouds 2, Chapter 10, Carrot Top and her opponents, Part 2. 25 minutes, whined Carrot Top. This is taking forever! I don't think griping about it is going to help, muttered Trixie. Hey, said Carrot Top, I'm allowed a little griping. I've had a rough week. Well, when you win the money, it'll all be worth it, said Berry Punch. She had taken out a thermos that she had obtained from somewhere. We want something to drink? Is there alcohol or not? Scouts on her. Berry Punch smiled. Just freight grace cheers. Not even a I am a bloom! He turned to see Applejack, who was wheeling around in circles like a boat that had lost his rudder. I am a bloom! Where are you? What now? Asked Trixie. Does she ever shut up? Carrot Top frowned. Let's go check it out. Hey, began Trixie. I'm just going to see what's going on. Come on, said Carrot Top. As he approached the apple area, they saw Big Macintosh galloping to Applejack. Nope, he said. Won't help. You're kidding. They really won't help. Why the hell not? That's my sister right here. Those other apple teas. Judging, said Big Macintosh, nodding at the lying distant, yet slowly approaching judges. What in the... They won't help me find my sister because they're afraid of being DK'd. Dang the competition. My sister's gone and the only police who saw her leave was those farmers who tried to torture our farm. We gotta find her. Carrot Top hissed. Demon Flum, she muttered. Those idiots again? Groaned Trixie. Great. Why would they kidnap Apple Bloom? Carrot Top explained the blackmail scheme to her. They'll probably try to get the Applejack disqualified, then say I made them do it unless I work for Greengrass. Trixie shook her head. Luna will kill them. Politics is one thing, but you don't bring fools into it. Great. But we can't wait for her to get involved, whispered Berry Punch. What now? Carrot Top approached the Applejack team. What's going on? Applejack stared at Carrot Top with bloodshot, blurry eyes. Yeah, you had something to do with this. Did you get those nut jobs to try to farm our farm and kidnap my sister? I'm gonna hurt you so bad. Big Macintosh stepped between them. Apple Bloom's been full nap, he said, towards Castle. He sounded very worried. Other apples won't help. Because if you're disqualified, then they have a chance to beat the air, said Carrot Top, and winning's what matters for the apples. Big Macintosh nodded. Carrot Top bit her lip. She could try to help them find Apple Bloom. Carrot Top, hissed Trixie. Remember, you don't want to get disqualified. This is too important. They kidnapped a foal, said Carrot Top. Do you really think I want to sacrifice a foal for this competition? Let's tell the judges. Tell them what? If we have proof that she went with them unwittingly, they might suspend the competition and help look for her. But we don't. They'll think that she just wandered off. They won't look. Then some pony else. Flavor Flav will be caught. You know it. Besides, if it was Stinky, would you be saying this? Trixie turned a bright red and shut up for a few moments. All right, fine, she muttered. Point. I'll help look too. Thanks. Carrot Top turned to Berry Punch. Apple Bloom's never done anything to you, will you? Of course, Berry Punch said simply. I'm not going to leave a fool in the custody of those two con artists. Carrot Top nodded and turned back to Big Macintosh and Applejack. All right, we'll help you look for her. Just a quick sweep of the castle and... Big Macintosh blinked. His eyes seemed oddly watery, and he bowed his head. Thank you, he muttered. I don't trust him. What if... Applejack began. Applejack, quiet, Big Macintosh said. His voice was stern, almost in order. Applejack stopped talking. Big Macintosh looked at Carrot Top. 25 minutes. I know, said Carrot Top, and Berry Punch and Trixie nodded. I'll help too, began Applejack. So he took off running and almost plowed in an oven. Arr! Where did that come from? Carrot Top blinked. In her state, she'd be more likely to fall into a ditch than to find Apple Bloom. Big Macintosh evidently agreed. You're dizzy. You're tired. Stay. Lost food. His eyes narrowed. He gestured at Carrot Top. Hers too. Applejack slowly sank to her haunches, as if too weak to resist the horror. But she's my sister. We'll bring her back, said Carrot Top. Don't worry. And then they took off. Carrot Top made it to the castle in time to spare, but her heart sank upon entering. The castle was far bigger on the inside than it looked on the outside. Still, there was no time to lose, so she picked a path at random and began running. 5 minutes later, it wasn't going well. Gasping for air, Carrot Top looked out the nearest window. She found herself in a tall tower that overlooked the competition grounds. She could see the wall of judges, which was steadily approaching her table. 15 minutes remaining. It would probably take almost that long to get down and back. I don't know what to do. I can't miss my judging just to find Appleboom, can I? Even if she's such a little fool, I'm probably lost or scared. Sighing, she picked another hallway and began running. She had to keep going. She had to hope Appleboom was somewhere nearby. And, excuse me, are you lost? She skidded to a stop. A white unicorn with a sharp, large horn and a deep blue coat was standing in front of her and smiling. He looked kind of like a tour guide. I know the castle can get a little confusing. I got lost here myself last month, but maybe I can help you find where you need to go. I'm looking for a foal. You don't suppose you've seen her, Unicorn Red Mane? Red bow in her hair? Carrot Top blinked. Yes, exactly. Ah, yes. I did see her just a few minutes ago. Take the first door on the left. Go down the 2 flights of stairs, and she should be on the 3rd room to your right. Thank you. Carrot Top took off on a run. Ah, the young are always in a hurry, mused the unicorn as he walked on. I really want this claimant. It's the coolest thing ever. And yours. You just have to look it out of this room. Carrot Top slowed as he heard the voices from the next room. Applebloom, and Flam too. All right, she found them. Now to get past the unicorns. Carrot Top bucked through the wooden door and found herself in an old kitchen area. Applebloom was gripping a pine cone tightly in her teeth, was straining to remove the large old cabinet. This was bigger to her, and it was clear she'd never be able to move it. Yet, she was trying with all her might, though she looked exhausted and worn. Flam and Flam were there too, dressed in judging uniforms. They slowed when Carrot Top burst through the doors. You're too late, called out Flam. You'll never get her back in time for the judging. And sweet Applejackers cannot win. Years to go back, said Flim. Maybe you could save your own farm. I'm not leaving without her, said Carrot Top. Take off whatever spell she's under and get out. Flim began to sweat. He turned to Flam. I told you this wouldn't work. Shut up. Flam growled. Sorry, Carrot Top. We're keeping the foal here. You better get back to your table before you miss your judging. I don't care, Carrot Top said, began to approach the two. You'll lose your farm if you lose this competition. You think I sacrifice a foal to keep my farm? Maybe the apples would make that choice, but I won't, yelled Carrot Top. I'm not a cheater, and I care more about other ponies than a stupid prize. Now let her go before I buck you into next year. Flam's horn glowed as he began to cast a spell. The Carrot Top was faster. She bucked him squarely in the head and he collapsed. The foot squeaked. Remove the spell, ordered Carrot Top. Now. Or what? You'll knock me out? Then the spell stays. Applebloom will never want to leave this room. Flam managed a pale smile. No, if you don't, I will tell my good friend Trixie everything you have done. Trixie is the personal student of Princess Luna herself. In 10 minutes, Luna will have a letter describing exactly what you've done in service to Greengrass. Now we can all wait and see whether Luna banishes you to the sun first, or Greengrass has you exiled or thrown into some secret, or Cotton does it so you can't testify against him. Carrot's smile was wintry. That's what happens if you don't. Or maybe I take the spell off, and we agree to forget all about this. Flam's smile looked a great deal more nervous. Carrot Top said nothing. All right. Let us go, okay? Flam turned to Applebloom, and his horn glowed. A moment later, Applebloom paused. Hi, what's going on? I'm all here. Where's here? She asked. Get out of here, ordered Carrot Top to Flim. If I ever see you or your brother again, I'm telling Trixie and Luna what I know. She had already told Trixie, but he didn't need to know that. Leave. Flim grabbed his brother and left. Where am I? What happened to the children? Asked Applebloom. I'm gonna miss it, did I? We're getting close. Come on. We have to get back as soon as we can, said Carrot Top. Get on my back, okay? Applebloom hopped on, and Carrot Top began to run. She still had to find her way out of the castle. It's just down those stairs, said the tour guide-looking pony. 3 flights out the left door. Thanks again, said Carrot Top. It was certainly good luck that he run into him twice. He seemed to know his way around, after all. Carrot Top began racing down the stairs. The door opened, and Carrot Top found herself on the lawn. But her heart sank. The judges were much farther along than she hoped for. They'd be at her station in 2 minutes, and she needed 5 to get back. See, still, there was nothing else for it. She took a deep breath. Hang on! Applebloom! She turned to see Big Magatos running up to him. He was smiling brightly, crying a little, Applebloom. Big Mike! I'm okay! Carrot Top saved me! We're getting late. We've got to get back, said Carrot Top. Let's all run as fast as we can. She knew it wouldn't be fast enough, but still she tried. Oh, Big Macintosh said. Carrot Top nodded at Apple Bloom. You heard your brother. Get on his back. Don't worry about me, Up! Repeated Big Macintosh. Then he stuck a leg under Carrot Top and lifted. Carrot Top felt herself flying in the air. Dizzy was on Big Mac's back. And then he began to run like the wind. Carrot Top had known that Big Macintosh was strong and fast, but riding him as he blasted his way through the crowds and zipped at their tables was something else altogether. She held on tightly for dear life, feeling Apple Bloom holding tightly onto her neck as well. The wind was peeling back her mouth and hurting her eyes. And then they had stopped. They were there, with time to spare. Carrot Top took several deep breaths and rolled off. She looked at the large red pony. Thanks! Big Macintosh, who was now cradling around Apple Bloom, smiled. Thank you, he said. And then, look. You too. Hi, Apple Bloom! Applejack remained sitting by her table during the search, but now she raced over. Hi, Apple Bloom! You're okay! Thank Luna! Apple Bloom turned away. Well, asked the bewildered Applejack, what's wrong? Carrot Top made her way to the table. She had to keep going, and had no more energy for the apples. It was time for judging, after all. She had to be on the ball. The judging went very well. The judges seemed to love Carrot Top's food, and she was able to answer all their questions. What ingredients she used in the stew, what techniques she implemented to get such a perfectly flavorful crust on the turnover, everything. Each dish was delicious, and highlighted her farm's spectacular carrots. Alright, your announcement's at 3:30, said the head judge. If you move on to the finals, you receive further instructions then. And then they left. Carrot Top took a deep breath. Think they liked it? Berry Punch and Trixie tried it over. They hadn't been allowed near the table during the judging. They loved it, said Berry Punch. I serve customers all the time. I know what ponies who are enjoying their food looks like. You knock their hooves off. Trixie grinned. So, not to get ahead of ourselves, but when you win the money, if you happen to think of the mayor who convinced you to apply... Carrot Top laughed. Ha 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 ha! Could you save the whining from Money Pot until after I actually win money? If I have to. The three laughed and chatted merrily as they waited for the judging to finish. Carrot Top glanced at Applejack's table for a few minutes, but all the ponies were standing in stony silence. Carrot Top felt bad for Applejack, but she didn't go over to do anything. Trixie was right. She had to conserve her energy now and focus on her own ability. Then the announcer took the stand. Apple Trust! Huffington! She read out. Hey, Alfalfa Inc. Baltimore! Apple Trust Las Pegasus! Apple Trust Ponyville! Applejack cheered. Oh yeah! Better start thinking what you want your clubhouse to look like, Apple Bloom. And Big Mike, we're going to have to start figuring out what feels about it. To begin Huffington! Orange Empire Prance! Carrot Top realized that she shut her eyes. Come on, she whispered. See my phone? Hey, and Alpha Inc. Alberta! Kim Cootsy Corporation, Nahon! Berry Punch poked Carrot Top and smiled. You'll make it, she said. Don't worry. And then, Golden Harvest Farms, Ponyville! Carrot Top took a moment to realize what had just happened. And then she and Berry Punch were cheering. Carrot Top had made it. She was one step closer to keeping her farm. Just 1 minute to one more mountain to climb. It was about 4 in the afternoon when the 10 remaining teams gathered in front of the old castle. 90 minutes, called the announcer, and they start now! Allez, cuisine! The other teams, Carrot Top observed, were indeed making very similar dishes. She counted at least 6 salads that shared 8 out of 10 and 11 ingredients. Every pony else had some kind of deconstructed lasagna thing going on. Apparently that was very popular. None of them, unlike Carrot Top, were using spinach. But Carrot Top didn't care. Berry Punch was right. Being different, being true to her farm instead of pandering to the gastronomical trends of the moment, could help her too. So she ignored them. It just cooked the way she knew how. Turn to turnovers like Bonbon had shown her. Mixed together a bit of grit just as Berry Punch had taught her. Caught the carrots that she had grown, that raindrops had provided extra water for. She had everything she needed. To her left, the high team was using what looked like to be a huge machine that took hay and other ingredients on one end and produced what looked like a salad on the other. It was something Flim and Flam would have come up with. On her other side, just past Sweet Apple Acres team, Apple Trust Huffington, led by the piebald crabapple, were busily wrapping up a series of apple foams. Crabapple sprinkled in what Carrot Top recognized to be a saffron style of spice. easily 50 bits a bottle. She went back to her table, her local ingredients, and her simple knives, and smiled. Let them be as fancy as they wanted. She didn't care. She wasn't afraid of the trust or other big companies. Golden Harvest Farms was not going to be intimidated. When it was over, Carrot Top sank to the ground. Now what? She managed. She wasn't asking it to any pony in particular. Tracy and Berry Punch weren't allowed near her until after the judging. But she just wanted to say something. Niall, said a voice from behind her. The celebrities do a tasting, then the real judges. Carrot Top looked at Applejack, who seemed sad somehow. Oh, thanks. Don't mention it. Applejack looked down. Thanks to you too, for saving my sister. I owe you one. Carrot Top nodded. I would have tried to save her, but I could barely stand up, said Applejack. She's all mad now. Says I didn't rescue her because I didn't want to be DQ'd. It just came by while I was looking for her. Well, you know that ain't true, right? You know I was just being worried about being DQ'd. Carrot Top thought, as crazy as she was, Applejack still seemed to love her family. Yes. Applejack sighed with visible relief. Great. So, who are these celebrities? I don't know, but they're announcing them right now. Indeed, the Master of Ceremonies was beginning to speak again. First up, we have our chief corporate sponsor and a major agricultural figure, respected Orange. Carrot Top whipped her head around as Applejack began to applaud. Your uncle's the toss of this thing. Just one of the celebrity judges. His felt don't count for nothing. Just endorsements, I guess. Like he's paying for some of it. Same with a bunch of other big farmers, so. How do you think this thing gets his prize money? He don't cheat. Lee Apples always play fair, said Applejack. He'll judge honestly. I hope so, thought Carrot Top. Orange was giving a short speech. I am pleased to see such incredible red dishes. I'm looking forward to tasting each one of them. Thank you all for giving me this opportunity. Yes, he took over again. Second, the officer of most recently voted the most handsome in the equestrian armor, Brigadier General Morningstar. Third, with a new album just days away from release, Sapphire Shores. Fourth, representing the Night Court, Councilor Fancy Pants. Carrot Top's eyes wide. Hey, that's the tour guide. Fancy Pants, with a sharp horn and blue coat, beamed about the crowd. Good afternoon. I would simply like to say that even from here, your dishes all look absolutely spectacular. I am confident that I will enjoy sampling each and every one of them. He bowed. Apple Bloom hopped up on the sweet apple takers. Oh, he helped us get out of the castle. I remember, said Carrot Top. I wonder why. You know him? Applejack gasped. Apple lobbyists have been trying to get on his calendar for months. He's one of Princess Luna's friends. You just met him inside the castle? Not to mention he's probably the most awesome stallion in the history of MLP. Apple Bloom nodded. Alright, sis, you gotta introduce us. This could be huge. I'll coach you, or we can get Uncle Orange to hell. Evelyn turned away. Oh, sis, come on. This could be real important. Carrot Top smiled slightly as Fancy Pants looked over to them. The announcer was talking about some other Night Court pony, a brown earth pony with a round mane. But Carrot Top missed the name. Hi again. Hi, Mr. Fancy Pants, called Apple Bloom. Fancy Pants waved to them, and Applejack almost collapsed from shock. The celebrities had been introduced, and the Master of Ceremonies waved to us down. Now, death votes don't count for anything, she cautioned, but they can provide useful feedback. And who knows, if one of them likes your food enough, you just might find you have a few new connections. Carrot Top tensed as celebrity judges began to stroll amongst the tables, and sampling the food. Fancy Pants and the other Night Court pony were walking toward Carrot Top and Applejack. Carrot Top wondered what even to say. How do you introduce yourself to a baron, or a counselor, or whatever they were? The two stopped at the Carrot Top stall. The brown earth pony deliberately took a forkful of salad. He chewed and swallowed it. Carrot Top tensed. I think you could use a little rambutan, said the pony, as if this was a matter of great scholarly importance. It's delicious, but it just needs this hint of sweetness. Apple could cook too, but then the texture would be too similar to the carrots. Carrot Top blinked. The other pony sampled her stew and praised it slightly. Perhaps a touch more brown sugar, though. The glaze on the carrots isn't quite what it could be. Fancy Pants, I think this needs more brown sugar. Do you agree? Fancy Pants sampled the carrots. Yes! I would also have cooked the carrots a half-minute or so less. They fell apart too easily in the broth. Tender is good, but a few of the thinner ones are almost soup. Carrot Top couldn't move. It was surreal. A night court pony and one of Luna's advisors were eating her food and critiquing it. If Corona herself had shown up and criticized her seasonings, it wouldn't have gotten any weirder. Try to turn over, though. I would say it's perfect, said Fancy Pants as he ate a bite. Really? Asked the other pony, sampling it. I like turnovers, but this one, I don't know. The balance isn't right. The crust is very thick. Fancy Pants! Mr. Fancy Pants! Applejack waved. Over higher! Fancy Pants looked over. Oh, Applejack, the brilliant young apple farmer. I've heard so much about your apples. Could I trouble you to try one raw? Apple Bloom quickly picked one out of a case and backed it to Fancy Pants, who caught it with telekinesis and sampled it. Fine, he concluded. The other pony frowned. I'm sorry, but I've forgotten. Who is that? He whispered to Carrot Top. Applejack, of Ponyville Sweet Apple Acres. Oh, thanks. The Night Court frowned. I thought she would look less zombie-like. Carrot Top quickly hit a chuckle. Ha ha! She had a very rough freak. Applejack, in the meantime, seemed ecstatic about Fancy Pants' comments. I'm so glad you liked it! Yes, the Ponyville farms are doing very well, it seems. If they have master crust ponies as you do. Fancy Pants, turning back to Carrot Top. And not just good as farming, but also a sterling character. Carrot Top, I've heard amazing things about your generosity. You have? Asked the Carrot Top farmer. I have heard that you took an entire risk in entering, and you did so in order to buy a new navigation systems for the Ponyville farming community. How did you hear about that? Said Carrot Top. Fancy Pants shrugged. Extremely generous, really. I think your village is lucky to have a pony like you. Carrot Top smiled. Well, yeah, we go to the community too, Applejack hastily. We built a town hall, and this year, if we win, we were going to... Oh, of course. I've heard about your generosity, said Fancy Pants. I heard that you offered, when you heard that Carrot Top might lose a farm, to let her stay at your place for a few nights so that, though homeless, she would have a couch to sleep on. Carrot Top couldn't smile. Compared to what Carrot Top had done in Risk, that sounded pathetic, especially given Applejack's resources. The apple farmer blessed. You gotta understand, there's a bare history there, and... Carrot Top Fancy Pants turned back to Carrot Top. I have been reviewing the Ponyville Public Works records, and they seem to be favoring Sweet Apple Acres over the others. Probably some serious bureaucratic mix-up. Their farm name got put down more times than the others, or something like that. But if you want Carrot Top, I could talk to some ponies and see that they could be fixed. Carrot Top blinked. That would be huge. Fancy Pants seemed kind of, well, silly, but his heart was definitely in the right place. Thank you. Wait! Cried Applejack. Don't mention it, said Fancy Pants, ignoring the apple farmer. Now I really must be moving on. That rhubarb and strawberry pie looks spectacular. Have a good day. As he trotted off, his fondant orange was at the apple table almost immediately. Well, the Fancy Pants look unhappy. Yes, he seemed disappointed. If you're talking to him, what do you say to him? No, Uncle, I didn't. You say it was... I've been trying to get on his calendar for months. Tell me exactly what he's saying. I actually, started Applejack. The other night court pony smiled. Thank you for your delicious food. I'll see you later, Carrot Top. Carrot Top nodded, and the other pony left. The next pony to approach Carrot Top was Sapphire Swords. Delicious! She raved, after eating a bite of Carrot Top. Sublime! Listen here, dearie. You are going to cook up far in the cookery world. Thank you. I'll bet Fancy Pants and the Duke are said the same thing. But really, I can't help myself. This is so good. Wait, Duke? Were you just talking to Duke Greengrass? She blinked. What was the Duke? So nice of him to support the local farmers to come all the way out here. I can't even imagine how hard it must be to balance all those political doings and things like this. I could never do. Ha ha ha! Sapphire Swords laughed. Well, he did say he might be looking for a new farmer to sponsor some small farm to impress him. Hey, you're the only small farm that made it to the top 10. I'll bet he'd take an interest in you, dear. Well, good luck. She trotted off to the high team on Carrot Top's left. Yeah, I bet he will, said Carrot Top. But she couldn't worry about him now. She had a competition to win. Greengrass would come later. So she smiled again and introduced herself to Marrying Star. When Greengrass left the fields, she didn't notice. The celebrities had finished eating. The judges did the formal tasting. Then it was all over but the awards. Carrot Top stood with Berry Punch and Trixie. Her eyes were shut. And the next morning, a few moments, she learned if she could keep her farm or not. In first place, Apple Trust Hoofington! There was a roar from the Apple Trust section of the crowd. The Crab Apple tried out to receive her prize. I'd like to thank every opponent who made this possible, especially the trust leaders. In second place, A&L Alfalfa Incorporated, Baltimore! Carrot Top was sweating. She screwed up somewhere, she thought. The justice didn't like her disses. She lost it all in. Berry Punch hugged her. I believe in you. Thanks. Carrot Top shook her head. If I didn't win, I'm sorry. Don't say that. You'll do fine. And even if you don't, I wouldn't take anything back. But your business. I said I wouldn't take it back, and I meant it. Berry Punch smiled. You're worth everything we put into this. Whatever happens, Trixie nodded. Yeah, and we'll do whatever we can to help you get your in third place. Go to Harvest Falls, Ponyville. It took Carrot Top a moment to understand what that meant. Then she teared. It was over. She was safe. Distantly, she heard the two reunion get fourth, Sweet Apple Acres fifth. But she didn't care. She had won enough money to buy the irrigation system, and she still had enough for a home. Then Trixie and Berry Punch were hugging her, and I'm hugging her too. And they were all cheering. Big Macintosh and Apple Bloom came over to congratulate her. And Carrot Top felt like it was the happiest day of her life.